I believe that it's safe to say things do not always go our way. Things do not always go as planned. Sometimes we feel that life just gives us lemons, and then we may say, hey, I got to take those lemons and make lemonade, right? But sometimes we get those lemons and we have to make a defibrillator, or we got to take those lemons and we have to create the motherboard to a supercomputer. Sometimes we just have to roll with it, at least learn how to roll with it. Now remember, I'm a teacher, not a speaker. Now, if I were to ask what was the strongest animal on earth, we may think a bear or a lion or a strong elephant or maybe a silverback gorilla. No, the strongest living thing on earth, on planet Earth, is the dung beetle. Just think about that. This tiny beetle, about the size of a gummy bear. We need to understand our scale, because even though that beetle is so small compared to us humans, in addition to other larger living things, that dung beetle could lift something up that's 50 times heavier than itself. It has the ability to pull something that's 1,141 times its own weight. This tiny dung beetle, about the size of a gummy bear, has the ability to display those levels of strength. Now, the question is, what are they really pulling? They are pulling balls of excrement. They are pulling and forming balls of dung, animal waste. Now, that doesn't sound too appealing, but to a dung beetle, it's nutritious and it's more than appealing. Dung beetles even have the ability to fly. And where do they fly? They go and fly to the best locations to find dung. So what do dung beetles actually do with the balls of excrement? It may sound gross to us, but they actually lay their eggs in there. That way their young could have something to eat. And for the dung beetles, dung is actually very nutritious, especially because they're very specific. They only eat the dung of herbivores. So if you were in the African savanna and were to look down and see a tiny dung beetle rolling this ball of dung, you can now know what it's actually doing. It's creating a habitat for their young to flourish, and even for itself. We know in the African savanna, the ground temperature could exceed 140 degrees Fahrenheit. But a dung beetle, being able to roll that ball of excrement, have their very own mobile thermal refuge. So basically, when the ground gets so hot, a dung beetle may go and stand on top of that ball of excrement. And scientists have actually measured that their feet will cool by 12 degrees within 10 seconds. As I said once again, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. But sometimes when life gives you lemon, you may have to make something a lot more intricate, a lot more pivotal, a lot more necessary for us to succeed. And now that dung beetle, it also buries some of those balls of excrement, and the community benefits from it, because as that beetle digs down into the soil, into the dry, hot soil, they actually loosen up the dirt, which we know is going to help plant life. It also nourishes the soil, and it also helps to control the fly population in the area. We are once again focusing on this dung beetle and focusing on what it eats. Our stomach is probably turning. We're probably getting grossed out. However, I want us to actually be encouraged by the lifestyle of this dung beetle. I keep mentioning how life could give us lemons, but imagine what a dung beetle has to do when it has even less than a lemon. It's only dealing with waste, and it could produce something that is gonna continue the survival of its species. What more can you do? Not only with dung, because we're not going to use that, but what more can we do with the abilities that we possess? And just like that dung beetle, if we were to compare it to us, it's significantly stronger. It's the strongest living thing, but in size, it's significantly smaller. At times, we need to look at ourselves to scale. Do not get caught up looking at other people or other organizations in business and what they could accomplish. You could be doing just as much, if not more, based off of your scale in the grand scheme of things. Now remember, I'm a teacher, not a speaker. I want you all to have an amazing day.